Hello everyone, welcome to the first review on my channel. You guys didn't vote for it yet, but I decided to do it anyway because I watched the movie recently last night. It's not a good movie. And it's sad to say, this director, Martin Campbell, very good director. He's directed some of my favorite movies. Casino Royale, GoldenEye, Mask of Zorro, Edge of Darkness. Those are four good movies that he has on his roster. This one sticks out like a sore thumb. All right, that one can be the sore thumb. We have a huge ass zit on our forehead right now, right before prom night. That is how bad this movie is. And you probably read the title, so yeah.
And perhaps if you didn't read the title, I'm reviewing Green Lantern. This movie took me so long to finish, I had to switch locations. So, not my fault. It's Green Lantern's fault.
That is right. I am reviewing the Green Lantern. This movie's awful. Four good scenes, only four, and I'm not even exaggerating. Only four good scenes. The rest are absolute trash. Bad acting, bad effects, bad development, bad motivations. The villains are stupid. Everything about this movie sucks. Even talented actors in this movie like Ryan Reynolds and Tamara Morrison, Mark Strong, they all give bad performances. The director, Martin Campbell, as I said, he's directed many good films, but this one is just not one of them. This was supposed to kick off DC's cinematic universe, but it failed box office wise and critically. The one good thing that came out of this Green Lantern movie was Ryan Reynolds being able to play Deadpool. If this movie was successful, we probably would have gotten a whole bunch of sequels. Sequels to the Green Lantern, sequels to Justice League, the Justice League movie, part 1 and 2, probably. I don't know what they were planning to do after the Green Lantern if it was successful, but whatever. He would be busy. He would be really busy doing DC stuff. He would never have time to fit in a Deadpool movie. And he was one of the people who was like pushing for the movie. And if there was nobody else like Ryan Reynolds pushing for the movie, we probably wouldn't have gotten the Deadpool movie altogether. Enough with all this introduction stuff. I will get straight into the movie, starting with scene number 1, the fucking cliche narration. So some guy, he's narrating about some planet, some Green Lantern planet. I forgot where they live. I don't know the name. I don't bother learning any names of any of these characters. But it's the name of a planet, and then they send off rings, and the rings go pick people, and these people are brought to the planet, and they form the Green Lantern Corps. That's basically what this guy's explaining. During this whole thing, it's like a video game or like a straight to DVD animated film. This is all garbage. If you look at it, it looks horrible. I'm pretty sure they didn't even put a lot of time into this because at least the effects later in the film are just a teeny bit better. And then they use this title screen. The title screen looks awful. Like I said before, animated straight to DVD movie is exactly what it looks like. And whoever is doing this voiceover, I'm not sure who it is. I think it might be the fish guy, Tom Rod or whatever. Fish guy. I'm calling him fish guy because he's a fish, or at least that's what Hal calls him. I'm not really sure what he is. Whatever. He doesn't matter. I don't care. He sounds like he's doing this voiceover, which means he sounds a lot like Obi-Wan. Like he's trying to be an Obi-Wan. I'm not sure if like they're hinting that he's the mentor, so he'll sound like Obi-Wan because the performance is just awful. He starts explaining about some guy named Parallax, and Abin Sur was able to trap him on some moon, and then it cuts to these three guys, and they're walking. So it looks like they crash landed on the moon. But we have no idea who these three guys are. Are they Green Lantern people? They don't look like Green Lantern people. They don't have the costume from the trailer. They look like they're wearing like normal spacesuits and normal spaceships. They don't actually look, but they're aliens. It's the thing. So I'm not sure if they are Green Lanterns. And I remember later in the movie, I forgot. Sinestro, he says, what does he say? He says 4 Green Lanterns were killed, which means Abin Sur dies and then these 3 die. So I guess these 3 are Green Lanterns, but why the hell are they wearing spacesuits and not the normal CGI costume? So the 3 guys are exploring this planet, and all of a sudden they fall in some crater that they created with their ship, I guess. I don't know. This moon just breaks. It's a moon, and these 3 people were walking on it. It just breaks. I guess they're really heavy or something. And then they fall, and then they see the Parallax trapped in the Green Lantern stuff. It's like crystal, I guess. I'm not sure what it is. And then all of a sudden he wakes up. I don't know why. He just kind of does. And he starts Darth Vader joking them. I think this movie really wants to be a Star Wars clone. And judging by the effects and the character look, They kind of want to be a Star Wars prequel clone, but I don't. Hey, get it? Prequel clone troopers. That funny. God, I fucking hate this movie. Parallax pulls these guys their fear. He drags it out of them. They're yellow skeletons, and what else does he do? He fucking breaks out of the green crystal rock, smashes out of that shit, and now he's forming a dress or some shit. I don't know. It looks like a dress. I'm gonna say it's a dress. So it so subtly cuts to 6 months later, where Abin Sur is talking to Sinestro on one of the worst holograms I've ever seen put into film. Yep, and I'm not even lying. It's so awful looking. Probably because the CGI is awful looking in this movie. But we've had bad ones, like Winter Soldier and Star Wars. They're all bad, but this one's the worst, and that's really saying something. So after he stops talking to Sinestro about something I wasn't listening to, his ring warns him that, I guess, Parallax is by, and then Parallax blows up a window, and Abin Sur starts falling, but he can fly, so I don't understand why he's falling. Starts shooting like these ring energy willpower. I didn't know you can shoot willpower and fear at each other. And then Abin Sur goes through some tube, and then he looks all plastic CGI like, and he's still running away from Parallax. I wish I could tell you what's happening. I guess Parallax has just found him, I guess, or wants revenge, and he was searching for him only. He wanted to suck up his fear so he can be strong, because Abin Sur is the strongest out of them all. I'd explain it to you if I really understood what's happening. I want an interview with one of the screenwriters so they could tell me what the fuck were they thinking when they wrote this piece of garbage. Abin Sur is shot by fear. I didn't catch it. I didn't catch him getting shot and having this gaping wound. But now all of a sudden, now he's in the escape pod. You can see it. You can see it bright and clear, except not bright. It's kind of reddish and it's bleeding. It's whatever. It's like a hole through his chest, like a hole, just like a circle. You see this in a cartoon. If someone shot you with a bullet in a cartoon, it would have the giant hole there. That's what it looks like. And for some reason, Parallax lets him leave in the escape pod, I guess, and he devours the whole ship. There's no reason. Parallax obviously saw him. There's no way he didn't. But he just, I guess he's just stopped chasing him to devour the ship. If I was Parallax, I would totally go for the strongest Green Lantern that there was instead of a ship, because you can get more fear off of him, because I don't think ships have fear. Why did I choose this movie? So now Abin Sur is falling to Earth, or like he said, the nearest inhabited planet to perform the selection process. There's nothing in sight. There's literally just a black and a bunch of stars. There's no planets in sight, so I have no idea where he's going. And second, I just realized that's Tamara Morrison from the Star Wars prequels. He was the clone troopers. I don't know, it's just this scene. Before he was talking, he didn't even sound like him, but then all of a sudden, when he said that selection process shit, he sounded like a clone trooper. And also, still about that fear thing, everybody in this movie gets the fear sucked out of them when they die to Parallax. But this guy, he gets shot by fear. I don't really understand how fear is a form of energy. But I guess they'll explain it later, hopefully. I don't know. Probably not. We now cut to Hal, played by Ryan Reynolds, sleeping, and then he gets up because he has to go somewhere, and he says a joke, and there's water in the tap. I thought it was funny. I smirked. It's probably the funniest thing in this whole movie. But then the rest of the scene isn't. We cut to him, and he's trying to tape newspaper in some box, and he's driving, but he's kind of sucks at driving, and he's about to run in a whole bunch of cars. And they're they're obviously trying to recreate Tony Stark. But Hal is not a likable asshole. He's just an asshole. I don't like him. He seems like a douche. So apparently Ryan Reynolds is late for his job to fly planes, and Blake Lively's scolding at him. And now we can see that Blake Lively's performance is less than lively. Yeah, great joke, I know, thanks. And they start flying planes together, shooting at two other planes. And then Ryan Reynolds starts having visions of his dad, and his dad died. He crashed his plane into a floor or something. And then the guy got out, and he saw his son running towards him. But then all of a sudden the plane exploded, and his dad died, and the kid went flying backwards. So then Hal's traumatized, I guess, and he had to eject. And this new plane was just created, and it fucking blew up. So now everybody's pissed off at Hal. Alright, I'm under the impression that right now that these people were trying to do a deal with this company to show them that these planes were good, and then Hal showed them that the planes were not actually good or something like that. I don't know. And now this guy, I guess it's Blake Lively's dad. He's about to fire Ryan Reynolds, and then he fires a bunch of other people, but then he doesn't fire Ryan Reynolds, and now some guy tells him to watch his back, and he's like, "That's impossible, Bob," and it was not funny. If you want to do a quip, you can't. You can't. You just can't do it while you're angry. And also, you can't do it if you have a shitty script. And Ryan Reynolds being a bad actor. Right, as you can see, I've added some light so you can see me. This movie is taking me long to finish. Oh god, it's just so bad. Don't watch it. Just watch this review and you'll know everything that's bad about it. And then you know why not to watch it. And if someone asks you, you want to watch Green Lantern, tell them no. Just tell them like all these reasons that I'm giving you right now. Alright, Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, they're in a fight. Blake Lively was a pilot, I guess, so I guess that wasn't her in the other plane. But whatever, I don't know. And now he's mad at that she works the business, like the business part of the company. And they're screaming at each other and calling each other children and swearing. PG-13 swearing, of course. So it's like bullshit and ass. No fuck. Nothing too serious. They only use it bullshit like once. It's not a real argument. I mean, I don't really care what they're arguing about. They don't really develop this thing yet. I mean, they haven't even told me a lot about these two characters yet, and I should feel invested in their argument. No, I shouldn't. There's no reason for me to be invested. They're arguing about something I don't understand, something I don't care about. I came here to watch a Green Lantern movie, not people arguing about flying planes. Abin Sur, he sends off his ring, and then it cuts to Ryan Reynolds at a party. So I guess that's some insight that the ring is gonna go to Hal Jordan, even though we've already seen it in the trailer. What the fuck? Why do we even have to have this shit? I mean, it could go by so much faster if we didn't have to do all this ring shit. They could just literally gloss over it. It's not that hard. He can say that Ryan Reynolds just found it. We don't need to even go into the backstory about Abin Sur dying. We could just show Ryan Reynolds find Abin Sur without even knowing what happened to Abin Sur. That'd make it more of a mystery. I'll save you this scene because it's fucking boring as shit. There's terrible child acting, and then I really don't know who half the people are. I think it's Ryan Reynolds' nephew's birthday party, but whatever. He gets out of the birthday party, and then there's orb. It's like an orb of green. Like takes him like this, and he surrounds him, and he just leaves. What the fuck? You can't do that. Willpower isn't an energy. It's not an energy source. It's like a feeling. The will to do something doesn't power shit. Ryan Reynolds shows up to the crash site, sees Abin Sur, pulls Abin Sur out. Abin Sur says a bunch of whole stupid shit and stuff that I don't care about, actually. Precisely it. Stuff that I don't care about. And then he gives the ring, Ryan Reynolds takes the ring. He doesn't put it on, but he takes it. So now Abin Sur's dead and his suit goes away because he doesn't have the ring on. Whatever. And this whole scene, Hal does not seem surprised one bit that there's an alien right in front of him with an alien spacecraft. What? Are you kidding me? Like, this ball of willpower, forcefully picked me up off my feet and carried me halfway across town, and then dropped me in a puddle, to where a foreign alien ship is sitting there, with a dying alien inside. But, what? He went up to it. It could be dangerous. Like, I'd make sure at least that I wasn't gonna get killed, but I guess he's a good guy. Yeah, precisely it. That's why he went to save the alien, not because the plot wanted it. It's because he was a good guy. Hal calls up his friend who was at the aircraft thing. So I guess these two are friends now. I don't know. And then he comes and then he's talking about how we could use this alien stuff, and then Hal Jordan's like, no, don't do that. And then it's like, okay, well, we won't do that. So they take everything, they put it in their car, and they're freaking out. And this guy makes a very valid point. He's like, why would the ring pick you? You're an asshole. That's nothing. Yeah, that's precisely it. He's an asshole. He has nothing. He has no willpower. He's an asshole. That's all I've seen him do. Nothing. It doesn't require willpower to be an asshole, unless you're willingly an asshole. But he doesn't seem to be like a willing asshole. He seems just to be a normal asshole. We cut to Sinestro. I keep forgetting his name. In my notes, I put Prunehead, and he fucking looks like a prunehead with a bunch of dumbass Squidward-looking people, and he's telling them that Abin Sur dies. I don't really see how this has anything to do with anything. I guess he tells him all about Parallax, but there's no reason Sinestro should know a lot about Parallax, because the only thing Abin Sur said is, I was attacked by Parallax. And then apparently Sinestro knows all the other information about Parallax. And he also starts talking about, this is the scene where I was talking about, those 3 guys who got killed by Parallax in the beginning of the movie. He says they were Green Lanterns. But that was like 6 months ago. And now you're all upset that Abin Sur died by Parallax, but you weren't worried that he killed 3 other Lanterns before? It cuts to some science dude, and he's doing like this nerdy food making. It's just to show that he's a nerd, and he's playing chess while doing science work. Oh, a nerd. And then he gets kidnapped by 2 government people, thrown into a car, and then brought to some lady. And the lady's like, hey, you weren't actually kidnapped. We're just here to show you some alien that we found. Ryan Reynolds is trying to figure out what this ring does, and he puts it on. He's just poking the lantern and shit and doing like... And then it tells him he needs to do an oath. So he tries to do an oath, and he's like, blah, 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 blah. He recites the pledge, but with, I pledge of allegiance to a lantern. Yeah, stuff like that. But now, all of a sudden, he taps it again. He's done this like 4 times. He's already tapped it, but then all of a sudden his eyes, they like turn this really weird blue color. I don't even know why I did this. This has nothing to do with anything. It turns like this blue color, this like turquoise, and he starts reciting the oath. And it was scary as shit, man. But the oath, I never learned it. I read it in the comics. It was cool to see on film, but I never read it. So he's just talking about evil and stuff. And it's cutting to the scientist who got kidnapped, taking the heart out of the alien. But I don't see anything evil to do with this guy. He's just doing science. He's examining a foreign life form that we've never seen before. It's not evil. So I guess they just kind of spoiled some shit and saying he's evil, because now some shit's gonna happen to him. It's probably a science experiment gone wrong, and he's gonna turn evil. So Ryan Reynolds is like still doing his thing, and then Blake Lively comes at the door. So then he opens the door, and she asks to come in. She says no, and they go out to a bar and they dance. So Blake Lively's trying to figure out why he's acting like so weird and why the plane crashed. And he says the controls locked up. She tells him the controls didn't lock up, and then he's like, oh shit, now she knows. So he leaves. But in the alleyway, when he's getting in his car, he gets jumped by those guys who said he better watch his back. Bob, I think his name was. I don't remember. How the fuck do I remember Bob, but I don't even remember, like, Blake Lively's name? And I'm calling him Ryan Reynolds. I know his name is Hal Jordan, but that's not Jordan. So it's actually a nice sequence. They have some good choreography. It doesn't have too much CGI. And he just, like, does this. And then the fist comes and punches them. It's actually not a bad sequence. Not a lot of CGI, nice choreography. I will give credit where credit is due. After Ryan Reynolds jumps people, he tries to take the ring off, and it sends him up into space, where some random shit happens. It's like a really weird edited thing. It's like a whole bunch of white and stuff, and he turns white. It's weird. And he gets his suit, and it pans up to the mask, and it looks stupid. Yeah, it's like a video game. And then that alien fish guy is there. The fish starts explaining stuff to him, and not gonna lie, fish looks pretty good. They obviously put a lot of work into the CGI for the fish. Or more work than they did with the rest of the film. Except one problem, his chest is a little too buff and his legs are like really skinny like those. Basically, Ryan Reynolds is the first human to ever be given a ring. But there's just a bunch of shitty CGI'd aliens, and then there's Ryan Reynolds, and he's standing there all awkward like, and they're all staring at him, and they're listening to Sinestro talk about Parallax. Fishman is explaining how, like, whatever, like, the ring's limitations is your imagination and stupid shit like that. And he's making a whole bunch of slinkies, and then, I don't know what they are. They kind of look like slinkies. I'm just assuming they're slinkies. And Ryan Reynolds tries, and he's just like this, and it's just like a really small slinky. It sucks. It's stupid looking, and it's like fuzzy. And then some big fat Michael Clark Duncan alien comes and shoots him in the back, and then they get in a fight. But, like, before the fight, like, he's like, you need to learn to commit to the core, and then shoots a thing right into the camera, which Ryan Reynolds is technically, like, behind the camera. So technically he shot Ryan Reynolds, but all of a sudden it just cuts right after he shot, and then they're just standing, like, right here. So, did he get shot, or no? I don't know. And I guess they're about to fight now, so let me watch some CGI brawling. So Deadpool and Colossus, I mean, I mean Hal Jordan and Kilowatts was his name. They're fighting, and it's a stupid fight. Like he's throwing rocks at him, and he has a door, and he's clamped to the thing. But this is some of the worst CGI in the movie. There's particularly one shot where Ryan Reynolds is holding on, he's getting blown into the sun that's behind him, and then Kilowog is walking. His walking animation in this was so awful. It is the worst thing I've ever seen. And while they're fighting, he's shit talking Ryan Reynolds. He's like, "You're pathetic." But if he was like pathetic and if he shouldn't belong there, why the fuck are they like the ring chose him? So he has to be there. I mean, the ring never lies is what Tamaray Fishman. I always call him Fishman because Tamaray is like a confusing name. But yeah, Fishman told him that the ring never lies, so it chose him for a reason. And then Sinestro comes, which this fight between Ryan Reynolds and Sinestro was actually interesting. But they're still shit talking, and the shit talking still makes no sense. And he starts roasting Ryan Reynolds, and Ryan Reynolds really doesn't have anything to say but stupid comebacks. Like he calls Kilowatts gorgeous. Like that's been done in plenty of other movies. Like calling somebody who's ugly gorgeous, and like the fucking Kilowog smells Ryan Reynolds. He's like, "Oh, you smell bad," and then what the fuck does Ryan Reynolds say? "I smell bad," or some shit like that. And it's just stupid comedy. And I admit that one tap water joke was funny in the beginning. None of the rest of the jokes in this entire movie are even remotely funny. And keep in mind, we're almost an hour in, and this movie's like an hour 40. We still haven't seen a villain yet. We've seen Parallax, and he hasn't even done anything really that bad besides kill Abin Sur. Well, this fight is cool and all, but I do actually have some more Star Wars prequels parallels. Anakin and Dooku fight, and Dooku is always tempting him with the dark side, like fear, blah blah blah, anger is path to the dark side. Yeah, he says all that shit. And this is like Sinestro's monologuing Hal about how fear is bad, and he senses so much fear in him. It's like it's an actual Star Wars prequel. I'm pretty sure they said that I can sense the fear in you in one of those Star Wars movies. I bet $5 that they did. But instead of Anakin and Count Dooku fighting, it's Satan and Tony Stark. I'm sorry, guys. I keep messing up their names. Hal Jordan and Sinestro fighting. Sinestro pissed off Ryan Reynolds to the point where he wanted to leave. Ryan Reynolds leaves, but he takes the ring with him. Sinestro was just saying how Ryan Reynolds tainted the memory of Jango Fett. So why wouldn't he just take the ring back? He said he was a disgrace and that him wearing the ring makes him like upset, I guess. So why wouldn't Sinestro just take the ring off Ryan Reynolds and send him on a spaceship back to Earth? I mean, it doesn't seem like the aliens are trying to hide that they exist. So a spaceship landing wouldn't be anything that bad, right? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any fucking sense. So we got a shot of Ryan Reynolds landing back on Earth, which we didn't need at all. It was a waste of a couple seconds. But now, I forgot to say that the Green Lantern Corps were discussing that they were going to go kill Parallax during that speech that Sinestro had. So that's what they're doing. Alright, never mind. We're not doing that. Apparently we're at a science building, a school, with this doctor again, and then I guess he's whispering, he's hearing whispering in his head, and he's pissed off. And he thinks that one of his students called him a loser, but it was just one of the whispers in his head. So his eyes turn yellow, and he flips some guy, and he just throws him with his head. It was like the Force, but with the eyes. So he flung him over the desk, and I was freaking out. How the fuck is he able to do this? Like, a few scenes ago, he was shrieking like a maniac. So I'm really confused, like, what's happening to this guy? Because he was just examining the body. He didn't do anything wrong. No science experiment went wrong like I predicted. I mean, he seems perfectly normal up until this scene. Or a couple scenes ago when he was screaming, but that's pretty normal for a human being to do. So I'm really confused what's happening with this guy. I just really wish they got back to the Green Lanterns going to kill Parallax, because at least we'll have some sort of a villain that way. Instead of trying to build up this villain, we could just build up Parallax, but, you know, whatever. We're gonna go see this doctor guy that we don't even give a shit about, and instead of a giant cloud of CGI. Now the scientist, he goes and meets his dad, and he's going crazy, and he's pissed off at his dad, because his dad told the scientist to recruit his son, but then his son's like, oh shit, there's a lot more people qualified, and they could have done good with this job, and now he's seeing his dad as selfish. So he's probably going to kill his dad, not going to lie. Or even try to, I guess. I don't know. There's a shot in the trailer where you see him die, so, I mean, that's not really a spoiler. We get some really useless Hal Jordan scene, and he was just standing there. He didn't even say anything. He He had the ring in his hand. He clutched it. Fucking boring. But we cut back to these Green Lanterns, and they're coming out of space or whatever, and they're about to go fight Parallax, which is the first interesting thing ever. I just want to see a fight. I want to see what these Green Lanterns do. I've only seen them fight each other, not Parallax. I'm not really sure how you're supposed to kill a giant ball of CGI. I mean, I guess they're going to shoot lasers out of their little things, but what are they imagining? Plasma coming out? So many questions. So they throw a net over Parallax, and Parallax gets pissed, breaks the net, sends them all flying with the shitty, plasticky CGI's flips, and then he eats all of them except for Sinestro. Yeah, he devours on their fear. And then Sinestro, like a little pussy-ass bitch, runs away. And this is the asshole who's telling Ryan Reynolds that he reeks fear. Fuck you, Sinestro. Fucking Satan-ass bitch. Sinestro tells the round table of Squidwards that, Parallax, I almost said Sinestro. Parallax just roasted and toasted all of his people that went with him, and that they need to kill him. So they are thinking of making a yellow ring of fear to destroy Parallax. But then the Squidward head guys don't think it's a good idea, because Parallax was once a Squidward head guy, but then he touched fear and then turned into a ball of CGI. Best origin story ever. So now Ryan Reynolds is at a party, and Blake Lively's there, and they're all, like, talking and shit. I have no idea why this party is even here. I don't know what it's for, but people are there. And now that, what's his name? The doctor, the crazy guy, he's there too. And his father's there, and his father likes Hal better than him, and then he's pissed off. So then when the father of the doctor has to leave, the fucking doctor... It's so confusing if you don't know their names. I mean, it's confusing if you even know their names. The doctor takes a faucet and hits the propellers of the helicopter, and the helicopter begins to crash. So then Hal makes a Hot Wheels track? Yeah, not even lying. He turns the helicopter into a Hot Wheels track and just drives it along a track so it doesn't hurt anybody. Also, when the helicopter's crashing, it hits the floor and it's going towards Blake Lively and her dad, so that's why he covers it in like Hot Wheels tracks. But there's no way that helicopter missed all those people. And also, why the fuck would people running towards the stage? They basically cornered themselves. I understand why Blake Lively was, because her dad was up on stage and he fell, so Blake Lively went to go help him up. But then a bunch of other people were running that way, and then Blake Lively got pushed. But Blake Lively wouldn't have gotten pushed if this was real life, because why the fuck would you run towards a stage where obviously the helicopter is headed straight for the stage? Why the fuck would you run there? So Green Lantern makes headlines, and everyone took videos of him, and the guy who was with Ryan Reynolds when Abin Sur died, he shows up, and then he wants him to show him the suit, so he goes like this, and the suit goes on, and then Ryan Reynolds showed the guy the suit, and then the guy's like, okay, doesn't the superhero get the girl? So then Ryan was like, oh yeah, well I saved Blake Lively. Ryan Reynolds shows up at Blake Lively's house, but then she realizes he is Green Lantern. And they make a joke, like, oh, just because I can't see your cheekbones doesn't mean I don't know it's you. I mean, I've known you my whole life, blah, blah, blah. They're trying to make a joke on cliche superhero movies. There's no way that their friends can't tell their voice and then their build, and sometimes the mask doesn't always cover their face. It's like supposed to be a joke. But you can't really do that if your movie is filled with cliches on its own. Like, Hal Jordan's already Tony Stark, Bruce Wayne, and a couple other people combined. He's also is like a tortured hero. His parent died right in front of him, like with Spider-Man. And Tom Array, Fishman, whatever I called him before, he said, with great power comes great responsibility, basically. And also, shitty science. And CGI, bad CGI aliens. That too. Those are all like superhero cliches, like in one. So you can't really make a joke about cliche superhero movies if you are one. So Blake Lively is all pissed off, and then all of a sudden he says, here, I'll tell you about it. And then all of a sudden it cuts to her, and she's all happy and stuff, and they're talking and laughing. And then that makes no sense, because she was just really worried about Hal and, like, freaked out and stuff, but now she's totally fine with it. This movie has a problem with that. Before, the friend, he's not going to start talking now. He's pissed off. And then Hal talks about it, and then the guy's like, starts laughing. Then he asks to see the suit, and then Ryan Reynolds is like, no, he's serious about this. Like, he's like, no, I don't think it's safe, blah, blah, blah. But then 2 seconds later, he shows it to him, and he's like, pretty cool, huh? It's like people have bipolar disease in this movie. Ryan Reynolds tells her that he gave up being the superhero, and then she's all pissed off again. They really need to make up their mind where they're going with their characters. No one likes to see people not get together in movies. We want to see them together. Scientist guy, his head gets fucking huge, and he's still going crazy, but his head's like the guy from Incredible Hulk, this big. Yo, there's a problem with that in this movie. Fucking Abin Sur and Sinestro, both prune heads, and then there's a whole high council of Squidwards, and now this asshole. They're like trying to copy the Incredible Hulk with that one guy. I forgot his fucking name because like I've never seen him in another Marvel movie after that one. I guess I kind of forgot about him. But he was a villain. He was supposed to be a villain. I guess he wasn't the villain of that movie, but they were setting up for future Hulk sequels, and he has a fucking big ass head. So I guess that's another cliche to put on the list, or maybe not cliche, but a copy. Like they stole that. They're like, okay, Incredible Hulk right here, take that. We'll put it into our movie. So what's his name? Big ass head guy. He gets taken to a laboratory, but then for some reason he reads the girl's memories and sees that her husband died. I really don't understand why this was even put in there. I guess to kill another minute to make it long enough. I guess it's already long enough already. I think this movie should have stopped at like 14 seconds because that's when it started looking shitty. So Big Brain goes to his dad, and his dad's like, don't worry, we'll get you better. And then he's like, I never felt better in my life, and tries to kill the dad. So then they stab him with some syringe, and he gets him wiped out. Then he later wakes up, and he's like strapped to the thing, but then his eyes start glowing yellow. So then the black lady, she's a scientist, she gets scared, so she tells him to keep him under. So then that guy gets pissed off. Big Brain gets pissed off, so he flings a syringe right into the guy's face, and he dies. It's pretty crazy. And then he unbuckles himself and he flies up. This whole thing is really cool. It reminds me of the Dr. Octopus scene in Spider-Man 2 where he's flinging all the doctors around. He tells them to run, they start running, and he throws like a bucket and they both trip over it. And then he blows one of the girls. Not blows. Oh, God, that sounded bad. He goes, whoosh, and she goes flying, and she smashes her head against glass. And then he brings his father and locks his father, and then policemen start coming in. So there's these two cranes, and then he uses the cranes, and he grabs the two guys and flings them somewhere. And then 4 cops with tasers try to tase him, and he catches the tasers in midair, and then throws them back at them, so then they all get tased. And then Hal Jordan comes in and kicks him. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Hal Jordan was on the beach, and then his ring started blinking, so he knew that there was a problem, so he came in and kicked Hector Hammond. I remembered his name, Hector Hammond. Oh my God. That's been killing me. I actually really didn't bother to listen for his name. But his name's Hector Hammond. So yeah, he kicks Hector Hammond. Hector Hammond equals Big Brain. So who I've been calling Big Brain, that's Hector Hammond. Hal Jordan comes in, as I said before, and fights Big Brain. It's basically who can throw the most shit at each other. They start flinging stuff like bars and shit. And this fight literally lasts like seconds. Like they both get really tired. And Big Brain, all the way across the room, walks up to Hal's like body on the floor because he got hit in the face with some like gas thing, I guess. He got hit in the face, so he's lying down, and then this guy walks all the way there, and he falls down too. But then he touches Hal and finds out that he's Hal. So yeah, and then he takes his dad, who's like strapped to the chair because he's strapped into the chair. He flings him into like a room with his eyes again, and then he cremates him. Basically, burns him alive. That's the worst way to die. But he burns him alive. And then Hal takes the ring and jabs him right in the head, and it's like, zzz, and then it cuts to Parallax, and now Parallax is gonna go invade the Earth because he feels will and fear. So once he devours the world, then he'll be able to devour the Green Lantern Corps, like their home. Oa is what it's called, I think. Don't quote me on that though. So I guess Hal figures out that there was like another alien inside Hector, so that's why he's so deformed. Well, that's finally an explanation. Now I know what's wrong with him. So now Hal's scared that Parallax is gonna come and kill them all, and Hal is like, blah blah blah. I'm not good enough. The ring didn't choose me. I should just stay out of it and let the Green Lantern Corps handle Parallax. But then Blake Lively's like, oh God, they're gonna destroy our world, and he's like, fuck, I can't help. And then Blake Lively is like, overcome fear. So then I guess Hal gets motivated and then goes to the Green Lantern Corps and asks them for help. Hal's afraid that the Green Lantern Corps is going to use their fear ring and they're all going to get possessed by fear. So he doesn't want them to do that. But they don't even listen to him. So then Hal asked them permission to go fight Parallax on his own to save his world. And they said, okay, you didn't really need to ask permission. You could have just fought him on your own, but whatever. I really don't care what the fuck Green Lantern and Corps has to say. They're really fucking boring, and they're so preachy, and I don't really care. I just want to see Ryan Reynolds fight Parallax, because I can't wait to make fun of that scene, because it's so shit. Hal goes to kill Hector Hammond, and then Hector Hammond's gonna kill Blake Lively, because he has a syringe to her neck, and he's gonna stab her with it, and I guess she's gonna turn into an alien, or something else. I have no idea. But then, apparently this guy loved Blake Lively. I wasn't clear. Maybe the scene would have been more emotional if he did. And then Hal gives him the ring because he doesn't want Blake Lively to die. The guy puts it on. And he's like, remember when I said I would let Blake Lively go? And he was like, yeah. He said, I lied. And he shoots the green thing. And then Hal stops it. And it's just like right here in front of his face. And he's like, well, I lied too. And shoots it back. And then this guy starts screaming like a little bitch. And then Parallax comes and grabs him. Not Hal Jordan, other guy. Hector Hammond. He grabs Hector Hammond and sucks the fear out of him. And he drops with the skeleton. So he ripped his skin off. But all the other people didn't have their skin ripped off. Parallax is changing his powers, man. I swear to God. Every single kill is different. So now he's a skeleton, and then Parallax tries to eat Ryan Reynolds too. But Blake Lively runs to get the ring. And she gets the ring, and then she also sets up the fighter pilots to shoot at Parallax. So Parallax gets exploded, and then Blake Lively gives Ryan Reynolds the ring, and then he scares away Parallax. And then Parallax starts forming in the sky, and he's about to kill a whole bunch of people. And I really enjoyed this part. Parallax is torturing the city, and he's killing people. Civilian casualties are happening. And I love when civilian casualties happen. Like, not because I'm a sadistic fuck. I'm just saying, it shows that the superheroes can't save everybody. Like I liked in Jurassic World, Chris Pratt couldn't save all those people. Green Lantern can't save everyone. Parallax is bound to kill at least a little people. Man of Steel, Kal-El couldn't save everyone either. But in the Avengers, since it's Marvel, all PG-13 happy-dappy stuff, no one dies. Every single person who looks like they're in danger is saved, except for Agent Coulson. But I'm talking about civilians here. So every single civilian that ever looks like they're in any harm is always saved by Captain America or something. Anyways, back to the movie. Hal Jordan comes and he puts a catapult, and the catapult catches the fear and throws it back at Parallax. Parallax like embeds his head in a bunch of more CGI cloud shit, and then he springboards a gas tank, and then the gas tank flies, and he creates a gun. He shoots it, and it blows up. And Parallax gets pissed, and then he shoots fear at Ryan Reynolds, but he takes a shield and blocks it like this. But then the shield, it still has impact, so he goes flying into a car, and then a whole bunch of cars get destroyed right after that. It is so bad. The CGI is awful. Like, this scene is so awful. Like, especially when the car is tipping, you can see it right here. It's just so awful, and it's so unsmooth, and it really does look like a PS2 video game. Not gonna lie or anything. So Parallax is like tempting Hal Jordan, like, the whole human race is about to get wiped out because you, Hal Jordan, were afraid. But he's like holding like this, and then the ball is like all over him. And what does he say? He says some stupid shit like, oh no, he doesn't say anything stupid. He actually recites the oath, and he goes in through Parallax's mouth with a drill. So Parallax creates a new face and goes inside his mouth, and then comes out the other end, and now they're in space, and now it's a bunch of shitty CGI plastic shit of them chasing each other. It's just a little too much, man. Like, he makes a grappling, like a robot arm to grab the satellite and throws it at Parallax, and then they're going through a bunch of rocks, and Ryan Reynolds keeps smashing into them. It's a little too much for me to handle. There's so much shit happening, and there's too much to take in, you know? So Hal Jordan gets really fucking close to the sun. I'm not sure if that's humanly possible or he gets Green Lantern powers or whatever. And then he attaches himself to fighter planes. I'm not sure why. I mean, I guess it's so he get away from the sun faster or some shit. So then Parallax is trying to shoot at him with the fear mouth shit. But it won't work because Ryan Reynolds has no fear. And then he comes up and punches Parallax, and Parallax flies into the sun. Just no. Why the fuck he made us waste so much goddamn time. Like, he was just standing there and without doing anything. Like, the fire pilots were pulling him, and he was just standing there while Parallax tried to shoot at him. We could have knocked out at least a couple minutes, maybe one, not a couple, because he could have just straight up punched him. Because he doesn't need to charge that shit, but he didn't even imagine that yet. So why? Why do we have to wait all that time just for Hal Jordan to punch Parallax? Like, Parallax didn't even need to try to shoot at him. Hal Jordan could have just done that, punched him from the beginning, ended this thing. Because Hal Jordan couldn't be certain that Parallax wasn't going to shoot him. So what if Parallax did sense fear in him and shot him, and Ryan Reynolds died? What the fuck would happen then? Then we'd be like, shit, I probably should have punched him earlier. But whatever. That's just a nitpick. I mean, this whole ending was not that bad. I mean, it's pretty shit, but not the shit. Like, this is the ending, this is the rest of the movie. It's, like, kind of down here. So it's pretty good. Pretty good. Not pretty good compared to this movie. Compared to, like, the earlier movie. That's how it's pretty good. Not actually pretty good. So, once again, Hal gets a little too close to the sun, but then Sinetro's there to save him. This is the worst CGI in the movie. Like, I know I said that Kilowatts guy was pretty bad, but he's the most video game looking of the CGI. This one is the legit worst. You can see the green, like, little bit of a green screen around Sinetro's face. It's just so awful, and the background looks stock footage. That's what it looks like. It looks like stock footage. I just want to point that out. I'll say stuff in the next scene. So now Sinetro's having a speech about some shit, and saying that Hal Jordan will be remembered as long as the court exists. His defeat of Parallax was very brave, blah, 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 blah. And then Michael Clark Duncan, alien, hits him and says, "Can I trade him or can I train him?" And I was like, that's the worst line I've ever heard in my life. That's just such a stupid line. And then Sinestro starts roasting him too. He's like, "You're rash, he starts just calling him bad things. Like, shit. I thought they were friends. Ryan Reynolds says bye to Blake Lively in the credits roll. 2, once again, it looks like a fucking straight to DVD animated movie. That's what this text looks like, and it's always gonna look like that. They just chose such a weird style to make the credits and the opening credits and the ending credits. But thank fucking God the credits roll. My head fucking hurts. I've watched this movie 6 times and I took notes. I barely even used them. This review it's not that good. I mean, it's my first review ever. I've never done a full scale review. And I noticed that the continuity was fucked up with the first clip and the rest of them. And there was night and the day, and it's confusing as shit. I've recorded this over the span of a week, so whatever. Yeah. That'll do. Like, I'm gonna give some final thoughts in like 3 seconds. Let's just move on to the next cut. Is this movie a piece of shit? Yeah. Is it as bad as everyone say it is? Pretty much. I mean, I don't know what the fuck I was going on about saying it was not as bad as everyone said it is. It's fucking as bad as everyone says it is. It's awful. Awful acting, awful story, awful villains, awful everything. Fucking CGI is horrible. Worst I've ever seen. This is the worst DC film by far. Maybe not. Maybe, we got Catwoman and Supergirl and Steel to thank for that. Oh, I forgot about one huge one. Batman and Robin. That's the worst one. This one, actually, it might even survive the top 10. There's a lot of bad DC movies that exist, but I don't think... Maybe it would be like number 7 on a DC list. I don't know. I'll make one, maybe. If you guys want, just comment below if I should make one. This is my first review, so don't rage at me. I did a lot of things wrong, and I know I did. I still haven't even edited these clips yet together, and I don't know where I'm going to put movie clips and where I'm not going to put movie clips. I don't know. Whatever. Hope you all enjoyed this video. I'm going to make more. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do franchise. I'm going to make Man of Steel next and all the Dark Knight movies, and then leading up to Batman vs. Superman without clips, though, because I can't use clips. Or I could, like, record the movie, but that'd be illegal. Don't do that. Don't record the movie. Okay? It's illegal. Wait, hold up. The movie ain't over. Okay, Green Lantern. Oh, God. This is lit. Sinestro. Sinestro. Why did you do this?